From Dated to I Do is a Christian woman's guide to praying, planning, and preparing for her future husband. If you're a single woman, this book will help you stop feeling stuck and start living a more fulfilling life today. You'll date with integrity and self-respect in today's anything goes society. You'll position yourself to meet Mr. Right without looking desperate or compromising who you are. If you're ready to live the life that God has for you, and if you're ready to prepare for the next season of life, which is marriage, then this book is exactly what you've been looking for. It is available right now at Amazon.com. From Dated to I Do is a Christian woman's guide to praying, planning, and preparing for her future husband. If you're a single woman, this book will help you stop feeling stuck and start living a more fulfilling life today. You'll date with integrity and self respect in today's anything goes society. You'll position yourself to meet Mr. Right without looking desperate or compromising who you are. If you're ready to live the life that God has for you, and if you're ready to prepare for the next season of life, which is marriage, then this book is exactly what you've been looking for. It is available right now at Amazon.com. You definitely have your non-negotiables that you should not, negotiate on. Just like, we talked about having that relationship with Christ. And of course, I'm gonna choose number three. But if it's as this person is late all the time, that may be, and I'm an on-time person. Maybe I can't work with that. Is it something that could annoy me? Yes, but it something I live with for the rest of my life? So I guess it just all depends on, again, your non-negotiables, your green flags, which is, you're okay with it. Then those yellow flags you may be annoyed with, but, it doesn't drive you away like those red flags.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Heart Talk with Coach Abby, the show where we talk about singleness, marriage, and everything in between. I'm your host, Martinique Brown, alongside with Coach Abby as well. And we are definitely excited that you guys have decided to tune into the show today. Today, we are going to be talking about do you have the ability to change a person? In the comment field, let us know. Do you have the ability to change a person? Are you just that good in persuading someone that they need to just change their personality? They need to change a characteristic about themselves. Put in the comment field. If this is your first time ever tuning into the show, thank you so much for tuning in. All of the information that we discuss as well will be going to the description box as well. So now if you're tuning in from any other page other than Everything Authors Worthy of Love, Counseling, and Coaching, or Martinique Y. Brown, come on over to one of those three pages and I will be able to see your questions and your comments in the comment field. Now, if you're also tuning in on YouTube, give us a virtual shout out as well. Let us know you are in the virtual world, and you can also post your questions and comments there as well. Another great thing about this show is actually interactive. So right there in the description box is actually the telephone number that you can actually call to call in. You don't have to type all of your questions out. You can actually call in your questions as well. Just be patient with us and we will get to you as well. Another great thing about Coach Abby, she is a licensed mental health therapist and a relationship coach, and she is also an author. So her book purchasing link is listed in that description box next to the $. Now, you might be saying to yourself, man, I'm telling you, Coach Abby seems like she would be a great coach. She is a great coach. So if you're interested in scheduling that discovery session with her, and it's actually free, make sure you click on that link right there next to the old school red telephone, and you will be able to schedule your free discovery session with her as well. So Coach Abby, happy pre-Thanksgiving.
Yeah, this came by so fast.
It sure
So
did.
I felt like we were just ringing in 2021.
I know, isn't that crazy? Oh, this time it's
Ugh,
just flying by,
yes,
flying
yes,
by.
definitely.
And happy pre-Thanksgiving to our viewers as
Yes.
well. Don't forget to go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about Coach Abby as well as her services and her book and the show. So, okay, Coach Abby, for our first-time viewers, can you just let them know a little bit more about yourself?
Yes. Hi, good evening, everybody. Happy Monday. And again, happy pre-Thanksgiving week. My name is Coach Abby, and I'm a Christian dating coach, and I help single professional Christian women position themselves to attract the man that God has for them.
So now I know everybody has heard our topic. Do you have the ability to change a person? Why did you feel that it was important to even address this topic?
Yeah, I believe it was important because so many singles go into marriage believing that they could change a person or a person can change based on title, based on situation, based on circumstances. So there's a lot of, misbeliefs, a lot of um, um, just myths around a person changing, like, going into marriage, or if they're in a relationship, or
Mhm.
if a person um, do a certain thing or say a certain thing that they would change their, behaviors.
Yeah, yeah. So I do want to give a shout out to Kay Brown. Kay Brown in the house. She said, I believe you can be a positive impact on an individual, but not actually change someone. Interesting, Kay. Kay, don't forget to go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about the show as well as Coach Abby. So, what do you personally believe, though, Coach Abby? Do you believe you can change someone?
I do not believe that you could change someone. I actually believe that I agree with Kay. You can inspire, someone to take action. You can inspire someone to make, think differently, or
Mhm.
to, motivate someone, but to actually change someone's thinking, change someone's behaviors pattern. Um, I don't believe that you have the ability to do that.
But don't you feel like that's the same thing though? Like if I had that positive influence on that individual and they decide to change, I guess I just answered my own question because it's their decision to change.
Yes, and when I say change, you're in their ear constantly, you're badgering them constantly, do this, do that, you need to
Mhm.
do this, you need to do that. And if that's all they're hearing is this, then that's someone way of changing versus inspiring, where you're just leading by example, right? You're just taking action and allow that person to make their own decision whether or not they want to change a specific behavior pattern. Excuse
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So now I see a couple more people are tuning in. Give us a virtual shout out. We will not bite you. The question on the floor for you, if you just now tuning in, is do you think that you have the ability to change someone? And while you're answering, let me know, have you ever changed for someone, or have have you ever influenced somebody to change, and how did it work out on both sides? Like, was it a good impact or was it a negative outcome? Let us know in the comment field as well. So Coach Abby, why do you think desiring someone to be changed is viewed negatively?
I'm not sure why desiring someone to change is viewed negatively. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with desiring someone, to change for the better. I view it negatively if you're, like I said, if you're constantly badgering the person
Mhm.
or you're trying to make the person, change against their own, will.
Mhm. Mhm. So we all know what badgering someone looks like, but if somebody is badgering someone to change, how would you stand up to that individual? What should that conversation even look like in a dating relationship?
In a dating relationship, it would, and it depends on what that what that change is, right? So are you asking a person to change their viewpoint on premarital sex? Are you
Mhm.
asking that person to change their viewpoint in um, their work behaviors or their work style or how they communicate, with you? I mean, it's so many various different topics where people may want that person to change or asking that person to change to fit their maybe ideal as far as what a person should look like, what a person should be like. So it's that's a very vague, because it's so much that goes, into that.
Mhm. So let's narrow it down. I know that you said that, it just depends on what it is. Are we talking about, let's say that we're talking about somebody's personality, in that they feel that how maybe they treat someone is, you know, um maybe in a mean or ill will manner, and we're asking that individual to change that. Are you saying those type of things is something that would help that individuals? That's why it wouldn't really be something viewed as negative, because in the end, it's really just helping that person to be a nicer person.
Right. So you could, I guess you could still suggest that that person change their personality, but that's still up to the person to decide if they see that there's something wrong with how they're treating people, and if they want to change that part about
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
because clearly before they met you, this is what they've been doing for umpteen years of their
Yeah.
lives. And has anyone ever addressed it before? Has anyone held them accountable before? Why all of a sudden now you're trying to come into this relationship, changing me, and this is how I've been for
On
so long.
years. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and Evelyn says hello. So shout out to Evelyn. Thank you so much for tuning in, as well as Doc. Sierra is tuning in as well. Doc's comment is, if one has to badger, then you're trying too hard. Eventually, both parties will become tired. Now, positive influence and encouragement is needed in most relationships, but badgering and constant pressure can cause more conflict. I can definitely attest to that. One of the guys that I was dating, um, I it was just some of the things that he was doing, because I did ask him to practice abstinence, while he was with me. And that was like just That's a different show all of in itself, because I'm asking him to change something totally about him, that he felt like is needed in a relationship, to have sex, because he likes to milk the cow before buying it. But
Mhm.
um, but he tried it, but he was just more so like, I don't understand why you can't just accept me for who I am, because he was practicing other things like masturbation and things like that. And I'm looking like, but you're a Christian, don't try any of it.
So basically, you were trying to change his values and his beliefs.
Yeah, I was trying to change his behaviors. Shoot.
But his behaviors is a symptom of his beliefs and what he
Uh-huh.
values.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So that didn't work out well. That lasted a month. So I definitely agree that, it just causes so much more conflict as well. So
Yeah.
do you believe that there's any positive sides to being with someone who wants to change you?
I don't believe there's any positive sides for someone that wants to change you. I think that you can maybe make some suggestions about
Mm.
what you see that could be maybe better for the person, but again, it's you don't want to go into the relationship or into the conversation, being condescending, being dominating, saying you
Yeah.
have to change, being pressuring, but maybe making suggestions as far as where things may be better for the person, in order, for that person to improve in whatever behavior they need to change.
Yeah, yeah. But what does this look like
Hmm.
realistically? Should it just be okay, we just suggest it, or we say it once and then that's it? Because I know we're talking about this whole badgering thing and like really putting the pressure on somebody. Um, but if we do want someone to change maybe a behavior, should it just is it okay for us to just suggest it one time and then like maybe we're just done with it if we don't see that change happening, or should we just like maybe remind the person once a month if we don't
Is
see
the
a
person
change?
asking for accountability? Is the person agreeing to the fact that they're, open to change and this is something that they feel like they need to work on?
Well, well, so you're saying, oh, it's okay to at least just bring it up once, because if they don't even know that they need to change this side of themselves.
Right. So after you bring it up and you all talk about it, then has that person agreed with you and is asking for that support and accountability to help change this behavior?
Okay, so that's the question that needs to be answered to help us to understand if we should continue on with, well, I see you're still doing such and such. And
Right.
that's that accountability part.
It's just like I mean, healthy eating and exercising, right? If you
Mhm.
see that a person, you may like this person and you all have been, you know, um, dating for a while, and you may see that, okay, some of their eating behaviors may not be healthy to their
Yeah.
lifestyle. It's nothing wrong with bringing it up out of, concern, and maybe ask, well, how can I help support you in this area? Do you believe that this is an area that you need to work on? And
Yeah.
allow that person to share with you, is this something that they do want to work on and they're having trouble,
Uh-huh.
working on it? Or some people may say, no, I like the way that I am. I like being big and beautiful, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with it. So this is who I am. So it's if that person is saying this is who they are and
Yeah.
they enjoy being this size, then there's nothing that you can say or do to try to, push them to think differently.
Yeah. And I think that is what a coincidence that you just brought up, the whole size thing,
Mm,
because I know, some years ago, I was actually me and this guy was talking, and when I say talking, I mean that very loosely, meaning that I'm talking to you. I'm not exclusive with you, but I can talk to other people as well, getting to know them. But I said to myself, I was like, man, he is just foundation. He was just such a nice guy, but he was like, I don't mind big guys. So big guys
mhm,
out there, I don't mind y'all. But just don't be big and sloppy. And
mm,
so I was going into it with that mindset of, man, if I could just get him to start exercise, if I could just get him to start eating right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going
mhm,
into this bad boy with the mindset of like molding him already.
mhm,
And I was just like, you can't do that, Martinique, because now I start asking myself, well, Martinique, what if this person never changes? Are
mhm,
you okay with that? And so,
mhm.
but Coach Abby, we didn't date. So,
Okay.
but I
And
totally hear what you're saying.
I was going to say, and if they say, yeah, sure, and if he says, sure, Martinique, I'll do it for you, but the person has to do it
Mm,
for themselves, because doing it for you is not going to make that sustainable change.
yep, yep, yep. And don't you know that bad boy ended up losing some weight? I'm like, oh,
Oh.
Martinique, I missed it. um, but that was one of the reasons why Monique, the comedian, started to lose weight, because she said that her husband, the way he approached it to her was more so, I'm concerned with your health. Not that I feel like you would be a more beautiful woman, but I'm concerned with your health. And I want you here for our family, as long as
Mhm,
possible. So I
mhm.
think that's what really clicked for her as well, with that. But I just, that's something I'm telling you, because we will meet. What do you think about that though, Coach Abby? I
Mhm.
feel like we really let some good, from females perspective, we really let some good guys go, because um because there's it's something about them that maybe we just don't like, that is on that physical side, that is changeable, but it's just on that physical side, and we just like, nah, I can't deal with that. What's your
Yeah,
thoughts on
especially without having a conversation with the person.
that?
I mean, I
Maybe
definitely
because we
think,
think we'll hurt their feelings, especially if it's a weight thing.
no, well, if you come from the perspective like you mentioned about
Monique.
Monique's husband, out of a place of concern, out of a place of, just truly just caring about the person overall, whether or not that you all will be together or not. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's just how you say it,
Yeah.
in order, to just really understand where that person is coming from. Because I was when you was talking about Monique, I was thinking about, the singer rapper, Lizzo. She's completely
Mm-hmm.
opposite where Monique is coming from, and nobody can tell her about her, body size, or her how she portrays herself. Now you come to her talking about losing weight. She's like, no, I'm true to who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am. Either you leave it or you not leave. You accept it or you don't accept it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I said it's really important to come to that person in a caring way, just to see exactly where their mindset is.
Yeah, yeah. I think that those conversations are so difficult to have though. Like just because I think that we don't want to hurt that person's feeling, or even we don't want to cause any type of conflict within that relationship, because so many people shy away from conflict and arguments.
Yeah, and that's not healthy.
So
Yeah.
how can we have a healthy conflict?
Oh, Martini, that's like a different time.
Sorry. Sorry, tune in next week, guys. How to argue with progression. But seriously, like
But
how can we be
I would
comfortable with
say
it?
though, it really depends on you. I would say that it really depends on where you are in the relationship and how you
Mm,
and how you really see this person. Because
yeah.
realistically, would a woman, if she's not into that guy's size, would she even really approach him, anyways? Or if she does, is it in the mindset of, like you said, I'm going to change him, or is it in the mindset that I accept him for who he is? Because
Hmm.
there's a lot of women that would accept the man's weight and vice versa. So I guess
Yeah.
it just depends on what your mindset is as far as going into the relationship.
Hmm.
Um, like just going off of weight, but a lot of women or men go into relationships they can change someone that says they don't want to have kids. That's
Oh
also a big.
yeah, that's a good one.
And so this women that may want children, they try to go into this relationship, forcing this man to change his mind about having children. So it's important in those situations to talk about that early and accept the decision that this person has about whether or not they want children or not.
That's a very good point. And I really like the fact that you said you have to really consider where you're at in the relationship. Um, because I think that that's not saying like that's the only time that you'll notice these different characteristics, but sometimes we come into the relationship as our representative, and you don't get to truly learn about that individual until further down the line. And it's kind of, I don't know, sometimes I think that it's a little more difficult to maybe break it off with that individual because we have invested so much time with that person. I just wish it was all revealed a lot sooner.
But the
But
kids piece, you normally know ahead of time.
yeah, that need to
Yeah,
be
if
your
people are, are
first.
are really honest, you normally, that's like a first date question. Would do you see yourself having a family, or if you're online dating, if they have that on their profile. So kids piece is normally um more upfront. But let's use another example that you said that later down the line. What about finances?
Oh
Those
yeah.
conversations you may not have until later down the line because a
Hmm.
person may not always be upfront about how they budget their money, whether or not they're in debt or not. If they owe credit companies money. Those are some conversations that may not always be had up front, but it takes a little bit time to really get to know the person, observe their spending habits, and feel comfortable to talk about money
Hmm.
depending on where you're at in that relationship.
Yeah. And I know that you've actually shared with us you and Daryl's relationship when it came to finances, a little bit on, how both of y'all were like at two different points in your life financially. When maybe Daryl made a suggestion about something you should start doing financially, was it like, okay, well, I see he has X, Y, and Z. Maybe he does know what he's talking about, and you followed it? Or was it just like, look, I make my money, you make your money, and then we'll deal with that?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was around the first statement you made, just because when we were dating, Daryl had just purchased a house. So
Okay.
I knew that, if I wanted to have my name on the house and come into this marriage, with us being financially secure, that there was some things that I needed to work on financially. Also, to the premarital class that we were part of at church, that was also, talked about. I think one of the homework assignments
Mm.
was that we had to show each other's credit reports. Daryl, do you remember that? So, I mean, they just like like threw it out there, like
Mm-hmm.
showing each other credit reports. So they really wanted us to be, honest and forthcoming about finances, because that is the number one, well, one of the top reasons, I should say, why people, divorce is over finances.
And what was that during your premarital counseling?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, shoot, you in that bad boy from then.
Right.
Daryl also confirmed. He said, "Yep." But something that Doc just mentioned, she said, as a child-free sister and having a child-free brand, she hears a lot of stories about women feeling pressured about having kids. And we typically don't, because her group is made up of child-free women. And we typically don't hear it coming from the side of men pressuring the woman. We usually hear it, the woman pressuring the man to have those kids as well. I know you mentioned online dating, but a lot of guys online, it'll just say open, where it says, do you want to have kids or something like that? It'll just say open. So ladies, don't be afraid to have those conversations, especially if you're doing online dating and it says open. Like, what do you mean by that?
And you know what's funny, Martinique? I watch quite a few reality TV. So let
Uh-huh.
me let me know if anybody else is in reality TV. And like there are a lot of younger men that are dating older women that are
Mm-hmm.
pressuring them to have children. And these women and the
Mm-hmm.
and the men don't have kids.
Yeah.
But the women are older, they've already had their children. Some of them have had their tubes tied. And a lot of the men go into these marriages pressuring, the women and it's very interesting when you see the man's perspective on that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I would think so. And then a lot of times your older women are established in their professional life as well. So sometimes they don't want to disrupt that either. So
And they've passed childbearing age. This is reality TV I'm
yeah,
speaking
yeah.
of, but it's
Uh-huh.
like they've passed. They're like in their like mid 50s or something. And
Wow.
so and they've all like they and I said they already have like grown children, and then some of them
Mm-hmm.
have grandkids, and I'm like, dude, go get you a woman that could if you really
Yeah,
want, children. But anyways,
that's
yeah.
true. That's that. Oh, well, if you love me, you would.
That's
No,
right.
you came into this bad boy knowing that I'm 48 years old.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Um,
Hmm.
but Coach Abby, on a personal note, just as a married woman, what should you do when you find yourself wanting your husband to change?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I am going to pull out my Bible app
Uh-huh.
because the Bible speaks about what a wife should do in this situation. So I'm coming from First Peter. If anyone want to follow along or write this down, but it's First Peter chapter 3.
Okay.
I'm going to be reading the first 4 verses, but it's speaking to wives. So in the same way, you wives must accept the authority of your husbands. Then, even if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Don't be concerned about the outward beauty of fancy hairstyles, expensive jewelry, or beautiful clothes. You should clothe yourselves instead with the beauty that comes from within, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is so precious to God. And so basically what this verse is saying is that wives, if you have an unbelieving, husband, or if there's some things that your husband may not be, doing as being the authority over the home, that a wife is supposed to win her husband over by example, by living by example, by having a gentle, quiet spirit, not being all in his ear, pressuring him, badgering him, complaining to him, but to really win him over, by example.
That's good. That's good. So now, if you guys are just now tuning in, you are watching Heart Talk with Coach Abby. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Today, we're talking about, do you have the ability to change a person? If you not have not answered that question yet, make sure you go ahead and answer it in the comment field. You can actually make your comment and we can see it when you're tuning in from Worthy of Love Counseling and Coaching, as well as Martinique Y. Brown and Everything Authors as well. So now, Coach Abby, some people may not know that you actually wrote a book. Can you tell us a little bit more about your book and how this book, your book, actually addresses this topic?
Yeah, so the name of my book is From Dating to I Do. It's a Christian woman's guide to praying, planning, and preparing for her future husband. And basically, just like how we're speaking openly right now, it's just encouraging women to not go into the mindset of believing that they can, change a person or change a man because of maybe because of what they believe a man should look like or be like or their own intention, but just really encouraging the women to accept the man for who he is or what he says he is or how he is, and making your decision whether or not you want to stay with that person.
Yeah, that's good. So now, if you're interested in purchasing Coach Abby's book, right there next to the $ in the description box, you can go ahead and click on that link, and you will actually be able to read that book summary as well. And y'all, it's November. We at the end of November. It's getting close to Christmas. If you think that this will be a blessing to somebody, go ahead and order your book now so that you can have it in enough time for Christmas, and you can give it as a great present as well, or you can gift it to yourself. Ain't nothing wrong with giving yourself a book and reading it. But Coach Abby, we're talking about, I feel like we do continuously bring things up to people, and we don't do it in the nicest way, because we get aggravated when they don't change and things like that. What are some things that we can practice as women when we find ourselves getting frustrated that this individual will not change?
So I believe it goes into what she's asking him to change on. So are we asking him to change his personality? Are we asking him to change one of his character traits? Are we asking him to change a behavior? Um, for instance, a person, you dating a person that's smoking, but you asking him to stop smoking and complain that he stopped smoking. I mean, that's a hard habit to break. Yeah. So what are you asking him, where or how are you, what are you asking him to do, but how are you providing that support? Because you don't know, you've been aggravating him could cause more stress level in him where he'll continue to, go smoke. So so it just, so it's, again, I go, even though what I read about, first coming from First Peter, it was addressed to wives, it's still really great practice for, women that are in a committed relationship that do plan on marrying this person. They're in a premarital state. And it's important to, go into this relationship learning what it means to have, a gentle and quiet spirit, leading by example instead of, badgering the person or aggravating the person.
What have you learned, or what does a gentle and quiet spirit look like for you? What does that look like? Because we hear it all day long, but to actually see it played out, that's a different story. So what does that look like?
It's what the opposite of what I've been saying: the complaining, the aggravating, the badgering, the pressure, the constant talking in the ear, the yelling, the rolling the eyes, the attitude. None of that is gentle and quiet spirit. So even gentle, I talked about is how you say it, right? Well, I'm really I'm really concerned about your health. Share with me more about what that looks like, or how can I support you? That's coming from a gentle and quiet spirit.
So now when we're dating somebody and we first see these things that we don't like, and remember we're first dating this individual, we're seeing different things, that we know we want this person to change. Should we even go into a relationship with this individual? We just met this person, but sometimes I look at things as, Martinique, go into this acting like this person is going to be the same 10 years later. Are you able to handle this, Martinique? That's what I ask myself. What do you think is the right way to go about when you just met somebody, you're seeing personality slash, well, we'll say personality or characteristic traits that that you would want to change? What should we do with that person?
I think it's important to have a conversation, but I mean, if it's somebody's character trait slash personality, 9 out of 10, this is who this person is. So, I mean, if this person is, trying to think of an example. If this person is, has controlling tendencies, if this person, it gets really easily irritable, or angers very quickly, then that's, to me, that's, some concerns. Are you really going to be able to change how this person gets upset so quickly? Or even not that he gets upset so quickly, but what does he do with that anger? How is he channeling that anger? Is it going off on you? Is it going off on other people? So those are just some of the things that you do need to, look out for, and really ask yourself, is this something that you can really live with? Or is this, are you really safe in this type of situation?
Yeah. And I think you have to really be honest with yourself, because we can, and when I say we, y'all, I really mean me. We can really be blinded by the great things about people. Like, I'm really into the physical looks. Like, if you are cute, and y'all know what I like my Africans, and you African, I can maybe give you some more weeks, and entertain us. But I really have to stand on like what you're saying, because it doesn't get better typically. It really just gets worse. And not saying that their personality gets worse, but you're continuously just digging yourself in a hole to make it harder for you to want to break it off with that person.
Yeah, then you begin to change as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to share, my story as far as the relationship I had in college. And I went into that relationship believing I can change this person. He was of a different religion. He didn't value, saving himself for marriage. And I went into it falsely believing that I can change him. And I did everything that I could to make him believe, make him go to church, make him stop drinking, make him, stop having premarital sex. But at the end, his behaviors became dominant in the relationship. So then I started to change because of what he was doing in order to try to keep the relationship. So there's always going to be that battle and that struggle, and one person is going to be the dominant, and that person is going to be the one, their behaviors are going to start to actually lead the relationship.
Yeah, that is true. And like you said, we begin to allow certain things and become a lot more comfortable with things as well, because we do like the person so much. And I think that that's what we really have to be mindful of when we are in these relationships, especially when we like somebody so much.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so difficult to break away from those type of relationships
Mm-hmm.
as well. And the crazy thing about it, Coach Abby, we pray so hard about them. We like, Jesus, change them. Change this person, Lord. Make this relationship work. Jesus be like, I didn't even tell you to be with this dude. So
Yeah, and that's why there's so many divorces. That's why the divorce rate is so high, because people go into marriage falsely believing that the person would change, because they're married, because they got this ring on their finger,
Mhm.
they gonna be this, they gonna be that. And they get into the marriage and find out that the behaviors of marriage has just amplified, right?
Mhm.
The behaviors, and that the person had no intentions, of changing. So yeah, it's really important to not go into the marriage falsely believing that a person can change
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
are married.
yeah. That is so that's true. Um, but I wanted to ask you, like, let's act like a person does change, should we give them a grace period on like when this change goes into full effect? Because there's some slip and falls along the way, just like with us with our salvation, and not salvation, once you get saved, then that's it. But with us becoming more like Christ, that's the
With our
beauty of,
spiritual walk.
yeah. And so that's the beauty of our relationship with God. Like, he don't just be like, well, Martinique, you slipped up once, you're done. But what about us in relationships? Should it just be, okay, well, I see he's trying to change and he's moving forward, although he messed up a little bit, and just don't just throw him away after that. But what should that realistically look like on this, him progressing towards the change?
Well, hopefully, if you all are in a relationship and you all have agreed that there's some things that he needs to change about him, I will hope that you all have talked about, well, how are we going to hold each other accountable? How are we going to be able to provide each other support? So, if there are slip ups, or if there are times where, they may fall back, that there's not any attitudes, there's not any type of, negative connotation if you are trying to hold this person accountable.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think that we have to also be mindful of just being an encourager for that individual. So like the conversation that I was having with my ex about like him masturbating, it was just more so like, well, how did you do this week? And because I love having open conversations, with my potential, because I'm like, look, bro, if we gonna talk about everything. And so I would just ask him, how is he doing, that week? But don't let him say, oh, I messed up. I'm like, well, were you reading your Bible? Were you doing everything?
Yeah.
And it's like I was just beating him up, and it just wasn't what he wanted to do. He was only doing it for me. So,
And
I
even if he was doing it for himself, we have to be careful on how we scold, or
yeah.
because he's not a child, right? So I have to,
Preach,
I'm a
preach,
mother.
Coach Abby.
And I have to remind myself that Daryl is not my child.
Yeah.
He's my husband, he's my partner. And so I can't talk to him or approach him like how I'm scolding my almost 4-year old son who's not
Uh-huh.
listening in school.
Uh-huh.
So even when you're like, oh, did you read your Bible? he could have read his Bible, and the temptation is still there. So it also is about, how you're coming to, are you treating him as an adult? Are you treating him as your future partner? Are you treating him as his helpmate and not
Yeah.
as his, mother?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And Doc Sierra made a comment. She said, "What about salvation? My mom stayed with my dad for years, unequally yoked. She prayed every Sunday. Then he got saved, and things have been good ever since." Well, amen for that, Doc. Amen for that. Um, but Coach Abby, my next question for you is, what are some red flags women should look out for that shows them that their partner does not accept them for who they are?
Once they tell you, or that's
Well, that's
that's
one way.
one. Yeah, but yeah, just basically their actions, right?
Yeah.
So, how consistent are they being? Are they ghosting you? Are they saying one thing and acting another way? It's really important to use discernment, right? And paying attention to a person's action and not allow your feelings to make the decisions based on the relationship.
Mhm, mhm. So let's talk about, though, sometimes when you get in a relationship and we hear females say, "Well, he met me this way and now he's trying to change me." And sometimes that conversation goes into the things that we wear. So, you met me where I, maybe didn't mind wearing fitted dresses and things like that. But now you want me to wear these baggy dresses. What does that look like for those couples, that that's what attracted me. That's what attracted you to me. And now you want me to change altogether. And one of the examples that I would have is, for myself, I don't mind talking. So I was thinking about this the other day. So I don't mind speaking to guys when I'm at work, and like having a real conversation with them. But I was wondering, like, if I was to ever date a guy at my job, how would he feel special? Because would he now look at it as a threat if I was dating him at work? Would he now look at it as a threat that I'm still holding these conversations with guys? So he could maybe say, "Well, Martinique, I don't want you to always be talking to these guys." But I'm like, that's how I got to know you, because I first came to you and start holding a conversation. I was practicing what Coach Abby told me to do, approach you. But that's how we got to know each other. So what does that look like when that partner no longer wants you to continue to do what might have even attracted that person to you?
Yeah, so that sounds like control.
Mm.
Yeah, controlling, jealousy, insecure, envious behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
So if the person is telling you not to speak, then that's a tendency of
You didn't say it all
control.
like that, Coach Abby.
Or right, or if they telling you to now wear these certain clothes because they don't want other men to look at you, then that's some symptoms of a controlling and toxic, relationship.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Doc said, or if they compare you to other women or fake IG models, she says that that's a red flag. That's a good one too, because social media will definitely start making
Yeah.
you want what somebody else has. And
Mhm.
I don't cuss, but I'll be darned if the guy that I'm dating talking about, "Oh, could you start doing such and such because Abby does such and such." Like, are you serious? Like, you don't have to bring up the person's name. But that's interesting though. What if Daryl liked, let's say for example, what if he liked your hair a certain way, Coach Abby? How does that, is that a fine line between control and just him expressing how he likes your hair. What does that look like? And not only hair, but maybe, other things, maybe an outfit or a style of clothes. What do you think?
There's nothing wrong with people having preferences,
Mm-hmm.
right? So women have preferences. Some women, we like our hair long, other like our hair short. Women wear their hair short. Some of my friends love they wigs. Other my friends never worn a wig and just wear the weave or their natural hair. So even as individuals, people have their preferences. When it comes to control, it's if Daryl is saying where you have to wear it this way or else, or I don't want you to express yourself in this way, or you can only wear this. That's when it becomes control. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know Daryl's preference and what he likes and doesn't like, but he doesn't stop me from expressing myself if I want to wear my braids one
Yeah.
day and wear my wig the next.
And I never thought, I mean, I just feel like there's so many like little things, maybe because I've just been out the relationship game for so long, but I don't know. You just learn so much about that individual in the dating stages. And it was so crazy. Like, I don't know. Do you feel like sometimes people can use other people as an example to help you see what they like without it becoming a conversation of, well, why don't you just go get that type of girl? You know what I'm saying? Like, if let's say we're going to say you and Daryl are dating, and he said, okay, well, this is the type of, this is what I, this is the kind of outfit that I like to see, my girl in, or, I like her to wear like small earrings, or, with no glasses. How do you not, I guess, how do you control your emotions and not get jealous of somebody? And then also, how would you not begin to start thinking to yourself, well, I know that this is what he likes, so begin to change yourself for him? Because I want to keep my same identity. I want to keep my identity, but still, like, um, I also want to please him in a certain way too. What do you think about that?
So are you asking what if a man has a type and he's trying to compare you or want you to change to his type?
Well, he just wants to use that type as an example to show you what his type looks like. He still likes you, but there's some things that he would like to change to look more towards like his ideal type.
Then that is still controlling. I
Think
mean,
so?
yeah. I mean, Daryl has told me in the past the type of women he's dated, or I may show him, Daryl, do you like this hairstyle on this woman? Or what do you think about?
Mm,
I usually, what do you think about this? You think this will look, I'm always asking him, you think this will look nice on me? Do you think I'm too big for this or too small for this? So I feel
mm-hmm.
like I'm doing that more than, that
Yeah.
he is, or he may look at a woman say, "Oh, that hairstyle would look nice on you. Maybe you should try that." But it's not in a way where, "Oh, you should try this," or you know, you it's not in like a condescending type of tone where this is what you need to do. But
Mm-hmm.
even I still say, even as women, we're always having these conversations amongst us.
Yeah.
Oh, her hair looks cute, or where she get those shoes from, or where you get that bag from. We're always, women do this more than men. We're always having these not saying that we're intentionally comparing ourselves to each other, but there are some women that I feel like really dress nice, or I follow on YouTube. They do well with their hair, and I'm like, dang, I want that. I want to
Mm-hmm.
try to emulate that. Does that mean that
Yeah.
I'm, not liking myself or loving myself? I'm just inspired by how well she can do her hair, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but I feel like we're just so much more comfortable having those conversations with each other as opposed to somebody that we're dating, because I believe that you're beginning to plant in my head, or in my mind, that I'm not enough. If you're beginning to ask those type of questions. So it was so crazy. Like, this guy that I was dating in college, he told me that he likes this type of girl. And this girl was like Drake's complexion. And I was thinking to myself, boy, if you don't go get you a light skinned girl, because I'm totally not her. But um, I don't know. I think that what Regina was saying is good. She said, maybe if he said, what do you think about that outfit? Question mark. And then comment that he likes it, it could lead to a good conversation. And I think that those are good. I think those are good questions to have, like when you're dating, like, oh, what do you think about this? Or, if he says it
Mhm.
as well. But I really enjoy that whole like getting to know you phase as well in the dating
Mhm.
journey. But is there a fine line between recognizing someone's potential and letting them know their potential and just not accepting them for who they are?
I think we're all striving to be um better than what we, want to be if we have goals set for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um so I mean, what is that person's potential? What is the definition of that person's potential? Is the potential trying to move up their career ladder, or is the potential like he's not working at all, but I see potential that he could one day have a job?
Yeah, yeah, such low standards, people. Oh,
So you still need to have standards as far as what that even, what does that mean? Or, he'd already told you he don't want to be a dad, but you see potential that, oh, you would be a
a
great
great
dad.
father. Such a great example. You would be a good, I'm telling you, boy, you would be. Let's try it out.
Right.
Let's see. Right, girl, you think you slick. Um,
Right.
but I know with this one guy that I was dating, he really just did not have that drive the way that I wanted him to. So I was telling him, well, why don't you go out and volunteer with some companies of, that's accounting, because he wanted to be an accountant. And so I was just like, why don't you go volunteer at an accounting office? And he had no drive whatsoever, but it became badgering because I'm like, where's your go get it attitude? And
Mm-hmm.
so that was a characteristic that I was just like, I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired of being a cheerleader,
Mm-hmm.
like that. But that's what I'm talking about. It's like, somebody has a desire or even maybe the potential to be great things because you see maybe that drive in a different area in their life, you know, or is it simply that I really just don't like this about you? So that's why I was asking, is there a fine line between the
Did
two?
you see him being driven in other areas in his life?
Not really. He was just saying, he was just more so saying he really wants to become an accountant. And I just had to question, like, do you really? Because you're not doing any type of steps to become an
Mm-hmm.
accountant.
Mm-hmm. And now you will have some women in that situation that would do everything for him.
And yep, and that's not me.
Yeah, I know, but that's how women blindly go into those types of relationships and wake up and be like, well, where's your drive? But
Mm,
you didn't pay attention to it from the beginning when he showed you where his drive was, but you really wanted to make this work and change him where you applied for him to become a accountant. You might have took the test for him, created his resume, applied
resume,
for his
yep.
job, and then now you have him set up to where you want to be, but now you're ready for him to move on to something else. Like, okay, where's your drive to marry me? Or how come you haven't proposed to me? But he done already showed you that that's just not who he was.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good, Coach Abby. I really hope that the single viewers are really just taking heed, because that is some great nuggets. Because we don't have, it's like we don't have to fall into these traps. And I
Right.
think maybe sometimes we get a little bored and we want some little spice in our life. No, go read a book.
Right.
On the other hand, order Coach Abby's book. The link is in the description box, right there next to the $. But Coach Abby, if you're dating someone that you want to change, and if they don't change, does that automatically mean you should break up with them?
Yeah, I mean, because what are what are you trying to change? I think we talk. Yeah, like what are you trying to change? Are you trying to change his like what are you trying to change? I should say, you
Well,
know.
I'm trying to change his personality, a character flaw.
Um, yeah, if he's who he is and he's been set in his ways for so long, I would just have a hard time believing how easy would it be for that person to change, or would he think that that's a problem? Like if you're trying to change, or even here's another example too, like people may be trying to change their person to become vegan or vegetarian, you know. And if this person's been a meat eater for so long, is this something that, you know, and the person's saying no, that again, that goes back to your knowing your yellow, red, and green flags. Is that something that you can live with? Can you see yourself cooking 2 meals, you know, one without meat or not non-meat? Or do you feel like that your nutrition is so important to you, and if this person cannot just, you know, be a vegan or vegetarian, then you're willing to walk away.
And explain to our viewers that's never heard you talk about the red, yellow, and green flags. Can you quickly tell us what those mean?
Yeah, so red flags are non-negotiables, any things that you are not willing to put up with, period. Yellow flags are things that you can compromise on, and your green flags are good to go.
Yeah, yeah. And Doc Sierra said, if you're married, go to counseling. If you're not married, in relationship, if there is constant fighting, arguing, and conflict. True, true, true. Yeah, because I just don't understand like why we stay in these relationships that's not fulfilling. I mean, I don't want to have more bad days than good days.
Well, there's a lot of
No.
deeper issues into that, you know.
Uh-huh. So Coach Abby, with Doc Sierra saying go to counseling, can you just let us know a little bit more about the services that you offer?
Yeah, so I'm a dating coach for Christian women that are ready to attract the man that God has for them. I offer one-on-one coaching, and I'm also about to start a group coaching program as well for women that are dating and just have some trouble dating and needed that extra support to get them to attract their Mr. Right. And I also offer counseling services for people that are in the DC and Maryland area.
So now, do you know when you're going to start the group coaching program?
I'm working on it next month. So between probably be launching it next month, and then hoping to actually start the live coaching in January.
Nice, nice. So guys, we just you just heard that program should be starting in January. Make sure you go ahead and follow Coach Abby on her social media handles. Those links are actually listed in that description box. We know that you've enjoyed this conversation because I saw it in the comments. If you're interested in having your free discovery session with Coach Abby for her relationship coaching, make sure you click on that link right there next to the old school red phone in the description box. And you can definitely sign up for your free discovery session. Also, don't forget to go ahead and continue to share this video now so that more people will know about Coach Abby as well as her services and her book and the show as well. If you're interested in purchasing her book, click that link right there next to the $ and you will actually be able to read the book summary and order it as well. We definitely hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night. On December 6th, we are coming back with another topic, and we're going to be talking about how to be grateful in your current season. You see how Coach Abby did that? Holiday season, being grateful in your current season. So make sure you tune in to that show as well, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Again, we hope that you guys have a great Thanksgiving as well. And we will talk to you all guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.